Hello. Welcome back. Today's flight is from Halifax toward Boston. And let's hope the landing will be a little bit better than yesterday, which was a disaster. So it's early in the morning, 6 o'clock local time, 11 o'clock Zulu time. So we are taking off from runway 23 at Halifax, and we are planning to land on runway 33 left in Boston. So everything is set. Altimeter 2979, flaps 5 is set, auto brakes rejected takeoff, release parking brakes. Let's go. So taxi is on the right. You can see that the holding point is just straight on. So we turn right here. So it will be there. Then another right turn and left on taxiway Golf. We then cross runway 32 and go to the holding point runway 23. So we need to turn left here, assuming this is taxiway Golf. There is no sign. And we cross the runway 32, and all the way at the end will be the holding point. Yes, taxiway Golf is identified. Left turn here. To cross runway 32. So that puts the lights on. The strobe light is on. And we can put the landing light out across. Why not? Clear to cross runway 32, and just after that will be the holding point for runway 23. We are now on taxiway Foxtrot, thrust idle, and here comes the holding point for runway 23. So runway heading is 232. We climb straight ahead till the NDB Zulu Hotel Zulu on frequency 364, and that NDB is already tuned, and we receive a signal, and at the NDB we will be turning right to a heading 259, sorry. So, ready for takeoff. Flaps 5 is set. Landing light is on. Thrust at 40% and stable. Auto throttle armed. Toga. And as yesterday, this is crazy.
80 knots.
Full aileron left and no authority. There is something wrong with this scenery.
V1 rotate.
Take off from the grass, and now
Positive rate.
we have something. This is not realist at all. Gear up.
.400.
Let's have the autopilot on. And we climb. Flaps up.
1000.
Flaps 1. Flaps up. So flaps up, no lights, gear off. This runway so has no grip. There is a little crosswind, sure, but you shouldn't do that. In fact, the wind was from the right and we were turning right, so this is totally absurd. Approaching the NDB. Needle is turning. Let's turn right, heading 259er. Increase the speed now to 250. So we should be on the 259 heading, so we need 6 degrees more. Let's turn right heading 265.
$1,000 to go.
We should have started the clock a long time ago. So at Halifax 20 miles we can start climbing. And we climb to flight level 320. That will be our cruising flight level. We don't need the NDB anymore. Let's select the VOR2. Halifax 19.5. Halifax 20, let's climb. Rate 1800 feet per minute. 250 knots. And we can switch off the landing lights. Runway turn off light, taxi light. Start switches to off. Logo light and wheel well light off. Seatbelt signs to auto. Check the cabin altitude is indeed increasing. APU bleeder can come off. Cabin temperature 24 degrees. Good. Nicely warm. We can now switch to the Yarmouth VOR on nav 1 and Boston on nav 2. None of these VOR are in range for the moment. So the Yarmouth VOR is 107 nautical miles away, so probably in 30 miles we should receive the signal from the VOR. Passing now 10,000 feet, so we can increase the speed to 285. That is our climb speed.
Ladies and gentlemen, please continue to observe the fasten seatbelt sign until the captain has switched.
And Yarmouth is now 102 nautical miles away.
There is a call bell reading light and fresh air vent in the panel just above your head, and we'd like to remind you that this is a strictly non-smoking flight, and also it's fitted with smoke detectors. We invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight with us.
So let's check the arrival time is 12:15. It's at 339 nautical miles, remaining fuel at landing 3.3 tons. So 12:15 is a little less than an hour. What we can put in the fixed page, we indicate the Yarmouth Yankee Quebec India VOR and a ring at 80 miles. That is when we should receive a signal. In reality, we should already have the signal because it's a 250 nautical mile range VOR and not the 80 nautical mile. So we can probably put 2 degrees to the left. 261 should be 259. So Yarmouth, 92 nautical miles, probably 12 miles to go. Now you see we have now 257, so the wind is varying. Back again on 265. And as we are passing 17,500 feet, we can go to standard altitude of 29902. We are on flight level now. So Yarmouth, 83 nautical miles, so in theory 3 miles to go, and then we should have a signal. And indeed we do get the signal now. Yankee Quebec India is identified, Warlock, slightly to the left. Should do that crazy correction, but that is life. So, Yankee Quebec India, 77.5 nautical mile. And estimated time is 11:35, so that's 12 minutes from now. And we are now passing flight level 230 for flight level 320. We can reduce a little the climb rate, 1500 feet. quite a strong headwind, 133 knots. Let's see if we have something in the FMC for that. .263 at 73 was the average wind from active sky, so maybe it's a little bit stronger than that. But we are not yet on the cruise level. Might decrease a little. Passing now flight level 260 for 320, 6,000 feet to go. So for the moment Boston is tuned on NAV2, but we have no signal, which is a little disappointing. The wind is even stronger now, it's 140 knots headwind. So we have a miserable ground speed of 275 knots. Interesting. So luckily we have taken 7 tons of fuel, and for 1 hour flight we still have 5,600 kilos left, which is probably more than 2 hours. And passing now flight level 300, wind is 146. Ooh. So 1,000 feet to go, and the wind is still increasing, 147. So ground speed is now 265.
Thousand to go.
So 1,000 feet to go, and we will be level at flight level 320. We then engage VNAV mode to increase the speed a little to Mach decimal 77. Doing now Mach decimal 7. Leveling now at 320. altitude hold, VNAV. And as you can see, the new target speed is now Mach 0.77. So after Yarmouth we go on a 266 radial to Scoop, and then we turn left for the arrival on runway 33 left. So 266 is our next radial. Yarmouth 39.5. Cruising now at flight level 320, speed Mach 0.77. Remaining fuel 5.4 tons, and estimated fuel at the arrival 3.5. So ground speed has increased a little, it's now 307. Mostly headwind, 150 knots. Check on the progress page, page 2. So headwind 147 and a crosswind from the right, 30 knots. So 32 nautical miles from Yarmouth, Yankee, Quebec, India. And after that it is 7 degrees to the right for the radial 266. Currently on the course 259er to the VOR. So the waypoint Scoop is at 37 nautical miles from Boston, VOR, and that is the point we will turn left on the heading 247 towards COAS to intercept the ILS 33 left. You can see on the departure arrival that 33 left is already selected. COAS Lima, runway 33 left. On the approach reference page, the ILS will be 110.7. Identification India Lima India Papa, and a course 330. We will be doing a flaps 30 approach with an approach speed of 145. So the runway length, if we check again, is more than 10,000 feet. So long runway. Auto brakes 2 will be more than enough. So 20 nautical mile from Yarmouth, we go temporarily to heading mode, change the course to 266 and re-engage forelock. And because we are within that band, it intercepts immediately the 266 radial before even arriving at Yarmouth. So 12 DME, 12 nautical mile to Yarmouth. The needle will switch 180 degrees when we fly away from the VOR. If you notice, on the FMC we have a distance 8.2 and 9.7 on the VOR. This is of course due to the VOR indicator distance to the ground station, and probably the FMC is the horizontal distance to beam the VOR. So we have a kind of 2 miles difference due to the altitude, of course. Flight level 320. That's why also when we are beam the VOR, the DME distance will not be 0. It will reflect the altitude above the VOR. See, 1.9 nautical mile and 5.5, so it will probably not go below 3. 5.2. It's not moving. 5.3. And now we switch, and indeed 5.3 was the distance to the ground. So we are flying now on the 266 radial from Yarmouth, flying away. Now 5.5 nautical mile, and it is increasing. We still have a giant headwind of 156 knots, and the ground speed currently is 295. So the estimated time at Scoop will be 12:08. That is 28 minutes from now. and at Skip we should be around 11,000 feet. So that's 21,000 to descend times 3, that's 63 miles. So when we will be at 60 miles from Skip, we can descend, so 63 plus the 37. That will be 100 miles from Boston. So the airport elevation at Boston is 20 feet, so it's practically sea level. The wind for the moment is 310 knots and the altimeter is 3026. Now, due to this wind, of course, the time of arrival is now 12:23, and it will even be more than that. So 12:23, it's 11:42. That's 40 minutes. So what we can do for the descent, as a reminder, we can go on the scoop waypoint and set the ring at 63 nautical mile, and that will indicate when we can descend. And you see that this ring is very close to the FMC top of descent. So it's a good indication that the calculation is correct. Let's hope that at Boston the runway will not be so slippery. It looks like we had no grip on that runway. It was ice. Very weird. So we say that for the arrival we can use auto brakes 2. And we will descend in probably 90 miles. On the FMC top of descent it says 115. $212 miles to go. So at Scoop we will be turning left on the heading 247. That will be our heading for the first approach fix COAS, and then it will be a sharp right turn 331 to the runway 33 left. We can put also already the ILS, and that was 110.7, and here we can put the VOR of Boston 112.70. But we can also put on the fixed pages our 3 rings. We take page number 2, and that will be around runway 33 left, which is 189 nautical miles from here. So the first ring will be at 4 miles, then we do a second ring at 10 miles, and the third ring at 20 miles. So normally at 10 miles we should be 3,000 feet, maybe 6,000 feet at 20 miles, and at 4 nautical miles we should be fully configured. It's probably a little above 1,000 feet. So top of descent now in 80 miles, and still no signal from Boston. Boston is supposed to be a high range VOR of certainly more than 200 miles. So this is a deficiency in the explained simulation. I don't know if we can adjust that on the data for the VOR. Maybe. But it looks like it's not using the range in nautical mile, but something like low, medium and high range. Was for the most VOR we get a signal at 80 miles. Some it's 120, but that is very rare. Maybe Boston will be one of those exceptions. So Yarmouth is now 58 nautical miles away behind us, and we will lose the signal of course at 80 miles. So we do hope that before that we get Boston. Otherwise we are in the dark again. scoop is 135 nautical mile, and we have a ring at 63 nautical mile around scoop. You can see the 63 there. You can get the radius to the station, or the intersection in this case. So Yankee Quebec India, now 65 nautical miles. Another 15 miles to go, and we do get Boston. Ooh, 167. So switch to Boston. Go to heading mode first. Radar page, we put Boston in nav1. We identified Boston VOR. And we go direct. So a little left. I don't know why this is required, such a crazy intercept for maybe less than 1 degree. We do a giant turn. And you see we are returning nearly to our previous heading, so this was totally absurd. So 50 miles for the top of descent. So what we do for the descent, we go to speed mode first, so disengage VNAV and reduce the speed to 250 knots indicated. Go down to flight level or 10,000 feet initially. So maybe what I will do is put 11,000, because we know that when we are at scoop we should be around 11,000 feet. So that will allow us to tune the descent more accurately. So 45 miles to go before descending. So now that we have Boston tuned on nav1, we can also tune on nav1 in the standby the ILS of 110.7. So it will be both standbys, nav1 and nav2. So we said that Scoop is at 37 nautical miles from Boston. So 37 plus 63, we said this 100. So the top of the sand is at Boston 100 nautical mile. So ground speed is still a miserable 300 knots and the headwind is still 149 knots. So we are very slow indeed. So the total flight was about 360 nautical mile and we are nearly already 1 hour because I was late starting the clock. It's probably already 50 or 55 minutes flight time. At this speed, of course, 360 nautical mile is 1 hour and 15 minutes. So this is still perfectly normal. Boston 137. So 37 nautical mile to go. I was already mentioning that here you see 136 now, but on the right corner you only see 35.6. So you are losing the highest digit. Maybe it's a feature and not a bug. So 33 miles to go. And we will be reaching the top of descent. Boston 128. Now we don't see a lot. So 25 miles to go before descending. Boston 120. Boston 115. So at 110 we will disengage VNAV and reduce the speed. We will change the altitude to 11,000 feet and we go on vertical speed at Boston 100. Now Boston 110, so first disengage VNAV, reduce to 250 knots, and descend to 11,000 feet. And at Boston 100 we start the descent. Boston 106, so 6 miles to go. So initially we descend at Mach decimal 70 or 69. So Boston 104. Okay, Boston 100, we can start the descent, 1800 feet per minute. On an indicated airspeed of 250. On the fixed page we don't need that ring anymore, you can delete it. See the time of arrival is now 12:32. You see we have lost 10 minutes already with this crazy wind. We can see also here on the ND of the first officer that we have a green arc, and that indicates the point where we will be at flight level 110, and there is the waypoint scoop, so we can reduce a little the descent rate. We don't need to descend that fast. I don't know if we can see something, not yet probably. So we are now passing flight level 290 for 11,000 feet. So the QNH was 3026. So we can preset that 3026. inches is set in the standby. So now the next phase is when we are Boston 37, we turn left. So currently Boston 90 nautical mile. So 51 nautical mile left before turning to the heading 247. 247 is set here on the OBS2. So when we are a little closer, what we can do is set the heading to 247 and engage heading select at Boston 37 nautical mile. So outside temperature is still minus 27 degrees. We have some clouds, maybe not a lot. We shall see if there is a need to put engine anti-ice. For the moment it is not required. Passing now flight level 245 for 11,000 feet. Oops, crash. Ah, damn it. Well, we will have to restart. See you sometime later.